A warm welcome and thank you very much for joining us again on the program. Vote count has begun in South Africa after the country's legislative and regional elections in which the African National Congress, the ruling party, ANC, which has been in power since 1994, is the favorite to win despite unemployment, corruption and poverty that plagues the country. The count began in Johannesburg with that of the special votes, which allowed for people who could have been unable to vote yesterday to do so ahead of time on Monday and Tuesday. Meanwhile, casting his vote in the country's sixth democratic national election since apartheid ended 25 years ago, President Cyril Ramapho apologized on Wednesday, promising that South Africa would never again see the rampant corruption of recent years. But really, how did the votes turn out to be yesterday, and what did voters make of the vote? We find out in this report.
Our South Africans on Wednesday voted in parliamentary and provincial elections with widening lines at thousands of polling stations. Some electors say they are frustrated at the pace of progress since apartheid ended a quarter of a century ago. In conversations with Reuters reporters in Johannesburg and Poliwani, many said they hope their vote will bring change.
I need jobs. A lot of young people in South Africa are not working.
I'm voting because I want changes and I want to stop corruption as well.
I want to see job, housing. I don't care because I can buy my own house.
A few others say their leaders only make empty promises, adding they are yet to see changes.
My vote is going to bring the changes in this country. We are tired of those crooks in the ANC where they don't even do us anything.
They also complain about lack of jobs, corruption and poor public services, issues the governing African National Congress ANC in power since 1994 has promised to address. His biggest rivals are main opposition party Democratic Alliance DA and the leftist Economic Freedom Fighters EFF.
Les Sud-Africains attendent les résultats
South Africans are waiting for the results of the legislative and regional elections that should extend the reign of the African National Congress. Its President Cyril Ramapho confident on Wednesday that the results of these elections are an important incentive to investors.
Important pour les investisseurs, Jerry.
We now go live to join our journalist, Daniel Mbere, who is in Pretoria, South Africa for us. Daniel, good morning to you, and how is the atmosphere this morning? Hello,
yes,
Daniel.
Good morning, Jerry, and good morning, Ruth. How are you? It's good to be here. South Africa is very active. There's a buzz here. People are following the results.
At the National Results Operations Center here in Pretoria, and here we have different observers, we have journalists, we have media houses, and of course we have the representatives of all the
48 political parties that are monitoring the results as they are coming through. How it works here is that the moment they are declared at the polling stations and independently audited, they are made available to everybody who is here. So this is a truly massive operation that is going on here. We have the National Results Operations Center covers over 12,000 square meters of space. There are almost 500 computers here, 20 kilometers of cabling, and 3 giant screens that are behind me where the results of the national and provincial are being broadcast.
Daniel,
it has been several hours since the polling stations closed and the counting continues. Give us the trends at the moment.
Pouvez-nous donner les tendances à l'heure actuelle?
So right before we went on air, over 3 million votes have been counted, which translates to over 24% over the votes that were cast yesterday. And the ruling African National Congress, the ANC, is leading with over 50%. The Democratic Alliance is coming second with over 20%. And the Economic Freedom Fighters are averaging 7 to 8% in third place. The other smaller parties are tussling out for the rest of the tally. Now, the results declaration was kicked off last night at around midnight with the results of the small voting station in Umzibubu in the Eastern Cape. And here, the ANC drew first blood, winning 11 out of the 24 votes cast. But the EFF, which got 8 votes, was the surprise of the day because this is considered a rural area and an ANC stronghold.
Daniel, interesting results there, and we're glad that you are there with us, there for us rather, from the Results Operations Center where all the results tallying is playing out. But could you please give us a recap of some of the major highlights yesterday during Election Day?
Oh, yes, thank you very much. Yesterday, Election Day was quite interesting. Most of the polling stations, including the ones we visited here in Pretoria, opened at 7 a.m. with long queues of enthusiastic voters, and several of South Africa's celebrated political leaders, including former President Thabo Mbeki, President Motlanthe, President Cyril Ramapho himself, went out early to vote in what South Africans called a democracy exhibition. But by the close of the 14 hours of voting, the Electoral Commission came out to admit that several issues could have gone wrong during the day. Service delivery protests prevented up to 5 polling stations from opening for the greater part of the day. And also political parties and voters have lodged several complaints about issues like shortages of ballot papers, shortages of scanners and other critical voting material. And there are also some very worrying concerns that the Electoral Commission may not have done enough to prevent multiple voting. And also its officials have been accused of inconsistently applying the voting procedures across the country.
Interesting, Daniel, and I'd like to thank you, though, for some of the insights you've given us, some of the latest from there, and we will circle back to you again to hear the latest. You hang in there for us, Daniel. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jerry, and thank you very much, Ruth, for having me. Yes, we will continue to bring you the latest. The Electoral Commission chief has assured us that by the close of today, we'll have over 90% of the results, so you can look forward to those updates.
Wow, that's coming in really soon, and we are looking forward to getting that and giving it across to our viewers from around the world. And thank you. Our journalist Daniel Mumbere speaking to us there live from Pretoria, where result tallying is taking place in for the South African general elections, which took place yesterday, Wednesday.